Dear student, welcome to the second class on elastic properties of materials. The previous class we have discussed about what is elastic material, what is a plastic material, what is the stress and strain now. And we have discussed about various types of the tensile stress, linear strain, then we have studied about the compressive stress or volume stress like this, and volume strain also we have studied now. More than that, we have studied about shear stress or tangential stress also, and we have discussed about shear strain also now. Now today, the Hooke's law, which was called the fundamental law into the study of the elasticity now. This is called fundamental because this law is widely applications in all civil engineering and mechanical engineering studies now. In this figure I have shown, there are one spring I have taken here. Now this spring is there now. Now this spring is used such that you can find the first spring is there now. This is a original spring, or you can say it has length is a fixed for this one now. Then for this spring here we are applying the load for this one. This is a one load, single one load is there. Now when you apply the single load here, then what happens, there is a change in length now. The change in length is called as an X now. X is a deformation taken place because of one load, it becomes X now. We are doubling the load here. This is say the two loads are added here. Because of this, what happens now? The length also increases by double now. If you double the load, the length doubles. If single length, single load now. Likewise, what happens? The proportion of the length goes on increasing up to certain limit. If you continue to increase the load now, then the permanent stretch takes place. Then still you continue this one now, the permanently increases the length of that one. And at certain level, the lateral contraction takes place. The wire becomes thin now. Neck is created and the wire is cut into two pieces now. Now this whatever statement I am doing now plotted in the graph now. You can see the graph here. This graph is called a stress and this is stress is there and this is strain now. Stress and strain, the graph is there. Now this graph tells about the relation between stress and strain of a material now. Now this graph is linear from, this is the first point is called the original O now, and they are coming up to the A here. This is called as A here. OA is called elastic limit now. Now this elastic behavior is there. Within this limit, if you remove the load, the wire comes back to the original length. That means deformation what you have done now, it again reform. It comes to the original now. Further, if you increase the load beyond A now, then what happens? A to B, what happens? The permanent stretch takes place here. But beyond B now, it will start completely plastic behavior. Elastic to plastic behavior starts now. That is called a yield point here. Further, you continue to increase the load here, and you can find that from C to D now, the wire extension takes place up to the D now. It creates a neck, and from D to E, it extends itself without increasing load now. It cuts off into two pieces now. And this is when you come to the E here at this point here, this is a fracture point broken into the two pieces. That means this is, when you study this one now, you come to the conclusion here from this is point A to the point you can see here, this point is called as O here, from OA is called elastic limit now. The material have got lot of interest of the engineers in this limit. Elastic limit is there. We have to study elastic limit of the material. The stress and graph is plotted. That what is elastic OA is to be studied here depending upon the material is selected for various. Again I shown the simple graph, the same thing is there, simple figure is there. Just to take a view on this one now, yield point is there, the fracture point is there. We have taken the delta here small displacement to the spring now, applying the single force now. This just to make you the simple figure. Now I have taken this figure, just a look, take a look over this one and confirm that how the variation takes place. Now when you coming to the final statement of this one, now studying all the graph and experiments you have done now, what you have written now? Stress is proportional to strain now. Within the elastic limit, the stress is proportional to strain now. If you write stress upon strain is equal to a constant, it is a E now, because when you increase the stress, strain also increases now. That both are increases and decrease proportionally now. That is why it is called as a constant. The E is called elastic constant or elastic modulus. This is. Now come to this now. This is a perfectly plastic body now. A perfectly elastic body. Now in this figure is rubber. Rubber is elastic material. Now the same ball we are holding into right hand and left hand now. Now say it is the left hand now, complete ball is there. Right hand you apply the deforming force for that one. You remove that deforming force, again it comes as the original shape now. This is the best example for the elastic body now. You remove the force, it comes back to the original shape. The rubber ball is the best example for the deforming of the material. Shape changes now, it comes back to the original shape and size, and when you remove the force now. This is called again a perfect, which comes back to the original shape and size now. Another is a plastic body now. The plastic body takes permanent deformation. That means permanent change in shape and size both takes place. You see this figure now, I think you are very well convinced of what the plastic body is there. Now you can say the plasticity is the ability of certain solids to change shape permanently when subjected to stress. Now this example or this figure shows that completely it changes shape and size. Remove that force, does not comes back to the original one. This is called a permanent deformation takes place. Shape has changed, size has changed, both are changed now. This body is known as a plastic body now. Now this is where day to day we are using the spoon now. Spoon is made up of elastic material, and this spoon is having both elastic and plastic properties. If you apply the little force on that one, the spoon handle slightly bends, and you remove the force, it comes back to the original shape also, but it is within the elastic limit now. Now on this one we are applying the strong force. You can say that the shape of that object has changed now, which cannot be reversed, and this deformation taken place. It is a permanent deformation for the plasticity now. Now this is one more example. You people are well acquainted with this one. We have taken the steel roll, kept it on the table, holding at one end, and another end is taken slightly at the bottom, pressing like that one. You can see there, it bends. The plastic deformation takes place. If you remove the force on this one, that does not become straight now, it bends. This becomes permanent change takes place now. Now after studying all this, what are the applications are there? What is the importance of their elasticity in engineering now? This is very important for what exactly we want this now. Now we are using the materials for various purposes. As an example now we people are using this steel as the basic material for construction of the buildings, bridges, the vehicle chassis now, like cars, planes are also fabricated by using the steels only. The thousands of machine parts that are most of us never see, they are also done by steel only now. Now what is the importance of this one now? These have got wide importance in mechanical civil engineering. That means you must know the material, you want to select a material, you want to make a choice of the material for particular applications, you must know that its elastic property. That means engineers can make better choice of the material for the use by knowing the nature of it, stress strain curve. That means we people have to study the stress strain curve of all the materials, and we have fixed it for the purpose of the use now, for particular application now, or particular use now. That means I tell you, construction of the building, construction of bridges now, that require different stress and strain graph now. Like this, you come to the vehicles, if you come to the planes now, various parts of the machines now they requires the different materials are having different stress and strain now. We people need to study this one, and we can decide the characteristics property of that material depending upon stress. Now you see this figure now. Now always we people are in such a confusion, what is steel and what is a iron. Now in this figure you can see that one black lump is there. That is the ore of the iron now. Hematite is a lump of, that is a ore of the iron now. The middle one I has shown iron written it is. See, so many stains are there on that one now, spots are there on that one. The first figure is The iron is, the chemical symbol is Fe now. Atomic number is 26. This is in the periodic table. That means a naturally occurring material it is. It is an element available in the periodic table now. Iron is simply a metal element that occurs naturally on the earth. It available in the earth as a natural element. Now steel and iron are two of the most common materials used in the manufacturing industries now. They are used to make a wide range of products and components. While iron and steel look similar, though they are two unique materials with their own respective characteristics and qualities. That means that iron has got stain here. I have shown the spots are there in the sample. You can see in the figure now. The yellow stains are there in the iron now. And they have got different properties are there. That this iron is a naturally occurring material is there now. It is available in the earth crust now. That means this is a natural one now. And figure here you can find that steel now. Steel is man-made. The conversely it was iron was a natural. This is man-made now. It is called the man-made alloy. That's made by mixing iron and carbon together. That means you have taken the iron, appropriate quantity of the carbon is mixed with that one. The properties are changed now. Depending upon your requirement, you are mixing the composition. Carbon you are mixing now. Man-made alloy is there. That is called a steel. Now you see various figures here. I have shown the 5 figures are there. The first is the steel rods used for construction of the RCC buildings. Second is the tubes are there. They are the stainless steel tubes are there. Third one, vessels now commonly using this we are calling as a stainless steel cup or glass. They don't have any stains now. The shining properties are there. And below two are that is called a stainless steel versus carbon steel now. That means one chain is there, it is stainless, another is a carbon steel now. From this you can come to the point in how you have modified that iron to alloy now, and you are using for specific applications in engineering now. That's why it is a steel. Steel is a man-made alloy that is made by mixing iron and carbon. Now, one point we must know. The pure metals are there. For example, the pure iron, then pure copper, pure silver, pure gold now. They are all soft materials. Now, such soft materials we cannot use for applications in engineering now. They are ductile. You can beat them and you can change the shape without cracking them. And when a ductile are there, their shape and size can be changed by hammering. And have low tensile strength now. They cannot be extended into the wire now. They are rarely used for engineering applications. These are not applicable almost all. They are very hardly used for engineering applications. But when you come to the alloys now, the man-made are there. The man-made materials are there. They are harder than the pure metals now. And they got better elastic properties. And they are used for engineering applications. That means for our engineering applications, we don't have much interest in our iron, the pure materials. We have got interest in the alloys. The different alloys are there, different applications are there, and these alloys are extensively used in the engineering. Now this is a very important thing we must know, creeping. Now what exactly creeping now? Now when you take a body which is of continuous stress now at elevated temperature, say when certain elastic materials are subjected to continuous stress at elevated temperature, the phenomenon of creeping comes into play. High temperature, high stress now, for long time the creeping takes place. Now this creep is a deformation continuously due to which material under the steady stress undergoes. That means it is under the stress undergoes now, the deformation takes place now. This is one of the most important property of the material at high temperature and the high stress now. We must know this creeping takes place into the high temperature. Now another aspect is annealing now. Now say we have got a material, and this material properties, that like a physical and mechanical properties, we want to change it, or we want to modify it, we want to convert it as we want now, of metals and alloys now. For this one, the metal is taken that is heated for certain desired temperature, and heating of this material or heat treatment is called annealing now. The annealing is done for almost all materials as I shown in the figure. See, there are steel blocks are there. The middle finger shows how the heat can be given now. One more red hot is there here on the right, yellow block you are seeing now, heated now. Likewise, you can, is very comfortable, you can see that our LPG cylinders are heated to become the strength now. And you can say that the steel nuts and bolts are there, so spring is there. Now this annealing is there when you come to the common practice now. When other ponds are done, the bricks are done, their mud done pots are there, or the bricks are there, they are also annealed. After annealing, what happens? They becomes a brittle, they becomes hard, they becomes a rigid one now. That is why by annealing you can modify the property of the your material. The physical property you can change now, mechanical property you can change now, that it may be alloy or the metals now, and you can again use for the different applications. Now the finally what happens? Now heating is a one process, you can change the properties now. Now we can take some impurities also. Now these impurities we can add into that one. By adding these impurities, the material properties are manipulated. They can be changed now, they can be modified now. Now these impurities are there, they may be chemical substances inside a confined amount of liquid, gas or solid, which differ from the chemical composition of the material or compound. Impurities are naturally occurring or added during the synthesis of the chemical or commercial product now. You have to add it. Say for example, steel is there, in that you are adding the impurities, you are adding the chromium, say for example, you are adding that one, that material properties are modified now. These impurities are what now? Talking in the simple term, they are foreign materials, foreign particles now, that affect the purity of the substance now. By that one, the purity substance is changed now, that means altered, that can be modified according to requirement in engineering now. That means the material, as I told you, the man-made materials is coming. By adding these impurities now, then finally what happens? We will get the desired qualities of the material now. We can fix their applications also, with for various applications now.